Ottawa is making arbitrary decisions that hurt Ontarians. Are we seeing a battle? Like, I mean, is this a real battle that's now going to brew between Ontario and Ottawa?
Yeah, and I think we can link this issue with what we were just talking about. In anticipation of a potential provincial Ontario election, I think Kathleen Wynne's Liberal government is very much trying to position itself as running against Ottawa. So you're hearing a lot of that. A lot of her campaign advisors used to work in Ottawa, and they're kind of, I think, enjoying this idea of turning the tables on the federal government. Whether it'll work or not is another issue, because Ontarians tend to be so quintessentially Canadian that they tend not to behave in the way that, say, Albertans or Saskatchewaners or Easterners, Newfoundlanders might behave. Ontarians tend not to get agitated about being ripped off. Are they being ripped off? Technically, yes. Ontario has had for the last few years, since the 2008 recession, an entitlement for equalization. That doesn't mean we're getting more money than anybody else. Quebec gets far more. We also continue to still send out more to the federal government and the other provinces. About $11 billion a year is the net outflow from Ontario taxpayers to everybody else across the country. Because our economy is recovering slowly, we may not be feeling it yet, but statistically it is, we no longer qualify for equalization in the coming fiscal year, and that's good news in a way. The thing is, when every other province has been disqualified from equalization, when their time was up, Ottawa always gave them one more year of transitional funding. This year, Jim Flaherty, the Minister of Finance, and the MPP for Whitby-Oshawa, said, no, I'm changing the rules. Everybody else gets transitional funding for 12 months, so they can cushion the impact, not Ontario, $640 million short.
Okay, our Premier, Kathleen Wynne, not the greatest relationship with Ottawa currently. Also not the greatest relationship with the City of Toronto and its mayor. And it raises the question, Martin, I mean, to what extent are ideological differences getting in the way of governing this country and this province?
I'm not sure I would agree with that. And by the way, in fairness to her, on the City of Toronto issue, she does have a good relationship with the city, with City Council,
right.
and a very good relationship with the Deputy Mayor. And I don't know that many people who have a great relationship with the Mayor these days. Jason
his brother.
Kennedy. Yeah, his brother does.
Yes.
Jim Flaherty does. But do ideological differences get in the way? No. For example, suppose John Tory were to be mayor a year from now. Let's just, as a thought experiment. I think you would find the two of them would get along famously, despite the fact that she defeated him twice in provincial elections. So once, twice, anyway, I'm sure John Tory will correct me, but she defeated him when he ran in Don Valley West back in 2007. So I think she is pretty, she has a lot of flaws. One of her abilities is to have a conversation. And she can have those conversations with Tim Hudak. She can have them with Andrew Horwath. They don't always get along, or they don't always agree, but they do get along. And I don't think it's a block at the municipal level. Federally, I think if you observe the federal Conservative government over the last few years, they're pretty good at picking fights. They call Dalton McGuinty the small man of Confederation. Jim Flaherty never misses a chance to talk down Ontario's economy, its appeal to investors, and so on. So, yeah, there are clashes with Ottawa. I don't really see them at the city level, though.
Okay, Martin. Well, thank you. You've always got great analysis. I could just sit here and let you go for 20 more minutes.
That would be a mistake.
We will see. We will see when the election comes, but some people are saying spring. You aren't saying anything.
Hedging my bets.
Okay. Thanks, Martin.